What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So we got the updated zombie Octavia today, which basically, since last year, this has become even more OP. So yes, one of the strongest builds in the game, and one of the easier builds in the game to play because it's zombie certified. So let's get right into the updated build for 2025. But before we do, make sure to sub this channel, do daily Warframe video uploads, build videos, news videos, discussion videos, all that kind of stuff in replace Warframe content. And the TechRat Encore update will be here next week, and we'll be covering that really extensively, so yeah. Okay, so the idea of the zombie Octavia is the same as last year. But the big thing different is that actually since I made my zombie Octavia video from last year, we have gotten enemy armor changes and overall enemy HP buffs. So they nerfed how much armor enemies get, but they buffed their overall HP number. And for Octavia, a frame that was kind of hit by armor, like being really crazy before with her mallet, she is now more OP than ever because you just basically throw on the mallet and everything in the entire area just dies, like really fast. Last year, I rewatched my zombie Octavia from last year. Last year, I'm like, oh, the mallet's not for Thrax. The mallet is definitely for Thrax now, so yeah. Basically, just plop down one mallet, the Thrax slices it, and the entire area is dead for like the next, minute. So let's get right into it. We've also got the Burston Prime 2, and just like last year, the Burston Prime is my recommended primary for Octavia. It's just so good. It's also available this week, technically, too. But yeah, easy level 10,000 one-shots. We don't even need the armor strip really anymore, too. So really straightforward, easy stuff. All right, let's hop into the sim and can show what you can expect from this kind of build. Keep in mind, though, that Octavia is very strong. It's going to really depend on if you know how to play her properly. So here we are on the sim, and yes, even compared to last year, some of the bigger changes, too. We no longer need to run the smeeta cat. The smeeta cat got nerfed. They put the loot buff on lots of other companions, so now we can run the Panzer Vulpaphyla and get lots of viral, too. All right, just going ahead and summoning in some enemies so you can see what the situation is going to be here. The idea of this build is to be pretty much not have to think about anything. So we basically cast our second ability, Nourish, which is from Grendel. And as you can see, our energy bar is going up really fast in the bottom right corner. We throw out the rest of our abilities, which cost like 100 something energy, and we are instantly getting our energy bar back really quick. Some new tech as of that update that they changed armor, we can now use Archon Stretch with the Panzer Vulpaphyla to actually get Archon Stretch and Octavia's passive for like 30 energy regen per second or something like that. So yeah, with the Burston Incarnon, lots of good damage. Big thing about the Burston Incarnon compared to before is that we now have the mod Spectral Serration. And since the Burston Incarnon does not properly scale with Galvanized Aptitude, it's actually much better. So we can just, this is basically how it is at level 10,000 too, as you saw in the footage. One bullet, and they're GG'd up. All right, so good stuff there. Now, of course, we can also use the abilities of Octavia to get all this work done, too. Let's just go ahead and show how that would work if you want to try that out. Now, you throw out the mallet. Well, actually, we're going to unpause them. So the thing about Octavia, enemies will shoot your mallet. You'll deflect the damage back at them. They didn't nerf the enemy's damage. They just nerfed the enemy's armor. So it's much easier to kill them now compared to before. So you see, like, no armor strip, and they're dying really fast. Good stuff. We're also technically perma-invisible, too. Due to a new graphics setting, we can actually look visible to ourselves while we're invisible to the enemies. Alright, so let's go over the entire build setup for level 10,000 Octavia. And yes, the build is different from last year, technically. Okay, first things first. You don't need green shards anymore, as you can see in the footage. No green shard needed. I'm going all power strength on here. You could definitely go for some more duration, too. But Octavia does scale quite well with power strength, such as her amp buff going up, which is a damage buff for your weapons. Metronome gives more multi-shot, melee damage, and speed. Armor increase too, technically. And Nourish gives you more viral and more energy multiplier. Technically also damage multiplier, the mallet does scale with strength too, but that's not as big of a deal. Now the big differences between last year and this year for this build are, I don't really think we need green shards anymore, so I've actually put on overextended over auger reach. Overextended reduces a bunch of your power strength, but it gives you a ton of extra range. So because of that, I've taken off the green shard to put on some more power strength shards, and we have some really good stats here. As far as the Arcanes, another new upgrade here, Arcane Crepuscular. While invisible, gain increased power strength and increased final crit damage multiplier on weapons. So if you have a red crit, it's like plus 3x, or sorry, it's plus 9x crit damage. Pretty good. Additionally, power strength is good on Octavia, but you might notice we don't have multi-augmented on here. I opted to put on multi-efficiency for some more duration over multi-augmented for more power strength, because I mean we're already at like 250%, more like 280% with Arcane Crepuscular. If you got Matarine like me, you're at over 300% power strength anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. This build also could technically work for a pillage setup too if you wanted to. But yeah, armor strip's not needed anymore. So we've got Energy Nexus giving us constant energy regeneration. Octavia's passive does give us energy regeneration too, and that will be multiplied by Nourish. And also Archon stretches on here. Like I said, the Panzer Vulpaphyla's viral attack, if you mod it for Shocking Claws, will also proc Archon Stretch to give you even more energy regeneration. So very good stuff there. As far as the rest of the build, just duration and strength and some range pretty much. It also looks nice that everything is either gold or primed on here besides the aura mod. Okay, as far as the Burston, this is going to be my recommended Burston build for level 10,000s. And even though the enemies die in one bullet, I still would recommend mine for corrosive, as they are weak to corrosive before their armor is removed. And they'll be dead before it's gone anyway. Alright, first Incarnon perk, Forceful Finality, giving us increased multi-shot of the final magazine burst. Kinetic Battle, giving us reduced recoil. And Absolute Valor, giving us increased crit chance. Now, the thing about enemies' armor being overall nerfed compared to last year is that, you know, as I said, we don't need green shards anymore for full armor strip. We've got corrosive from the mods we have on here, and we've also got heat from the Incarnon form. Between corrosive and heat and our corrosive projection, if any enemy survives long enough to have all those procs on them, they're going to have like 1% armor, if that. So yeah, no green shards, you just shred through them really, really fast. I've got a fire rate multi-shot crit chance Riven. If you don't have a Riven with fire rate, I'd recommend putting on a fire rate mod, because this thing has so many bullets. You've got your options. Gilded Truth gives you 80% fire rate, also gives you an AoE gas proc. Vigilante Fervor doesn't give you as much fire rate, but it gives you even more red crits. Prime Shred could be okay, I suppose. Speed Trigger, Vital Acceleration, also some good options. I'd say go for Gilded Truth if you need to run a fire rate mod on here like I am, but Vigilante Fervor is also pretty good too. Now, big thing here, as I stated, the Galvanized Aptitude mod does not properly scale with this thing's base damage, which is fine because we have the new mod Spectral Serration. While you're invisible, you get 330% increased damage. So because this doesn't work, this is going to be a great chunk of extra damage, which will also stack with our amp buff for even more damage. So really good stuff on that front. But yeah, since it has so much Incarnon ammo, I'd recommend a fire rate mod if possible. Moving on to the Grimoire, doesn't even get used. This is going to be another way to get even more duration with the Risk Invocation mod, or even go with the Jahu Canticle to get some armor and shield strip that you don't even remotely need. So yeah, good stuff on that front as well. Yeah, just the Grimoire that doesn't even get used by me. Now, as far as in the footage, I did have the Falcor equipped, but I'd recommend the Praetos for movement speed overall, giving Drifting Grace and Evolved Ascension, making you move faster. But if you want to see the Falcor from the footage, it was a Blast Electric Tenant Falcor. It can kill level 10,000s for sure. Just make sure you change your Bane mod to the Bane you're fighting. And also, this is pretty much an unobtainable build, unless you have a Blast Riven like me. And Blast Rivens of this thing seem like they're kind of rare, but if you can get one, pretty nice. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend trying to exactly replicate this. You don't have a Blast Riven, unfortunately. Now, big change here, since we're playing Void Cascade. Matarizing gives us that power strength buff, but our companion no longer needs to be a smeeta Kavat. And I did get some questions recently about these mutagens and antigens. You can combine Kavats together to get these antigens combined. If you look at, I hover over my armor for my Vulpaphyla. Look at all the things that resist. A normal Vulpaphyla does not resist all that stuff, which might be a big deal to you. Just go ahead and show you my less OP Vulpaphyla. See, it only has one Zerum mutagen and one Plagen antigen. I hover over the armor. Actually, I should probably switch to it, huh? I hover over the armor, and it only is like reducing two things. But for my 4x4 zombie cat, my Panzer cat, or whatever it's called, Panzer Vulpaphyla, I resist like almost every damage type of the game. It does not even remotely matter, because as you see, we are not on a HP build, we're on a shield build. So the shields aren't affected by that mutagen stuff. So I'd say don't worry about it. I actually use a 1x1 Panzer cat since the Panzer cat came out, and a viewer actually sold me this 4x4, so you really don't need it. But as far as what's on here to make all the good stuff happen, viral quills to spread viral procs, which will make enemies even more vulnerable to die. Calculated redirection gives us enough shield capacity to get reinforced bond proc, giving us even more fire rate. Haste and Deflection makes the cat not die as much, but you can technically take that off for something else. Panzer Devolution. If the Vulpaphyla would die, it becomes like a little sentinel thing that follows you around. Pretty good. Momentous Bond. If it is dead, you can get some kills to get some actual extra procs. Resource Retriever is something that has double Steel Essence. Very important for me. And Tenacious Bond, giving us increased critical damage on our Burston because we have enough crit chance on our Vulpaphyla claws. Really nice extra mod here. Synth Deconstruct. Enemies injured by the companion have an increased chance to drop orbs when killed. So that means like there's going to be extra orbs from the viral procs going all over the place. And the most important mod for the entire companion is Fetch, picking up loot for you. Now, as far as the claws, like I said, we have a little bit of an extra little synergy here with the Shocking Claws mod. And do keep in mind that the Simulacrum is in proper here. It's supposed to have 168% CC, but it says 25 right there. But either way, this will work on the claw or the viral quills to give you Archon Stretch. The rest of the stuff doesn't even remotely matter. Just make sure you have enough crit chance for Tenacious Bond. And yeah, let's go ahead and show that in action here real quick. So look at that top right corner. I'm going to proc Nourish, so it's a little bit more noticeable too, because it will multiply that Archon Stretch. And we summon in some enemies. And watch Archon Stretch proc very, very easily from the Panzer Cat just basically being there. We'll waste our energy too, so the Panzer Cat can actually show the ability in action. Alright, come on, do your thing. There we go. So Archon Stretch has been procced. And as you see, the energy bar is going up quite swiftly. So very good stuff on that front. Yes, so, you know, what else is there to say, really? We buff ourselves so much. Let's get a load of all the things I'm getting buffed with on this loadout. So, on our Burston, we are getting Viral from Nourish. We're getting Multi-Shot from Octavia's 3. We're getting overall damage, a huge chunk of damage from Octavia's 4. We're getting critical damage and fire rate from our Panzer Vulpaphyla, and also, you know, do you need anything else, actually? Like, we could probably find something else if I think about it a little bit more, but yeah, we are crazy, crazy strong with this build, and it is one of the easier builds for extra. I mean, look at that guy. That was an Eximus just dead in one bullet, basically. It is definitely nasty. The Burston Incarnon, this is one of the builds that really makes the Burston Incarnon shine. It's like, this thing is nuts with Octavia because of that limitation it has, where Galvanized Aptitude does not work properly. You know, it's not like Octavia's bad on frames that use Galvanized Aptitude, but yeah, her amp gives a huge chunk of damage, just like, you know, Chroma's 3, I guess. So, good stuff in that regard. Now, it's good to have some headshots, for sure. We are running Deadhead on here, after all, to get even more headshot multiplier, but you could technically try out Crux, too. Again, like I said, you don't need Crux, because these guys die in, like, one bullet. But if you want to get some more percentage chance, I guess you could do worse, technically. I guess you could have, like, the impact gives you energy regen 1 instead. Crux, you know, Crux, you could be doing worse than Crux, basically. Wouldn't recommend Crux here, but yeah, either way. Throw on the mallet. If you see a level 10,000 Thrax about to spawn, literally throw the mallet right underneath their feet. They will slice it with their scythe, and the entire area will be dead. So, good stuff. Now, again, just like other things in this game, if you have meta teammates doing all the meta stuff, Magistar slumming everything, the enemies do need to technically shoot your mallet to make this all happen. But yeah, learning where some good mallet spots are. As you see, the enemies in the background getting AoE killed by my mallet. Multiple million ticks of damage. This would be a great time for you if you have not played Octavia for high levels. Now, as far as some other helmets on her, I do think Nourish is probably my favorite. Big surprise, right? But yeah, you know, you could technically try some other ones. The nice thing about Nourish is that it does not count as a damage buff as far as the restrictions of helmet. Octavia's 4 does count as a damage buff, so if you wanted to put Roar on Octavia, you couldn't unless you removed her 4th ability. So yeah, I'd recommend that you replace her 2 with Nourish. And as far as additional information, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. A extremely powerful and fun frame too. It's fun to have everything dead, huh? And also good damage with the Burston Incarnon. It's a great combo. You should definitely give a shot if you have not already. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Appreciate all the support, and I should be live on stream today. All right, guys, take it easy. Peace.